Health Cabinet Secretary Madam Susan Nahumicha has said that her ministry won't renew the contracts of Cuban doctors who've been working in Kenya under bilateral agreements that came into place around 2018. Now is it finally the government giving a hearing to the plea of the government to hire local health human resource and at least to end this thing of importing doctors to this country that is Kenya? Want to debunk that conversation and see whether it is a step towards the right direction. I'm Richard Mwenjo. Always a pleasure to have you on Business Glide, your go-to point on matters, public policy analysis, business and economics at large, and truly delighted to have you on board. Now to unpack this conversation with me is none other than Herman Manyora. He is Kenya's most sought after political analyst and renowned public scholar this side of the Sahara. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Finally, King Charles coming to Kenya.
King Charles with Queen Camilla.
Camilla.
Correct. That is true love.
True love?
True love.
True love.
Yeah. True love because first, Camilla is much older than King Charles. Secondly, King Charles was married to a very beautiful Princess Diana, but love prevailed. It's unfortunate what happened to Princess Diana, mother to future king.
True.
But this love has endured. The royal family was not happy about it. They tried, but like Harry and Markle, whatever, true love prevails.
True love prevails.
Yeah. This many years later, Camilla is happily the queen.
Age is just but a number.
Correct.
Very well. That of the way, sir. We're talking matters the latest development from the health ministry, and a few days ago we saw Madam Susan Nahumicha say the government won't renew the contracts of Cuban doctors who've been operating in Kenya, offering specialized care. And let me ask you, in the face of the international community, which we have engaged many times on such bilateral agreements, do you think this will be sort of an egg on their face that finally are doing away with their doctors?
No, everything has a beginning and an end. We brought them in and as an agreement. That agreement has expired. We may not want to renew it. That's normal.
It is very normal.
Very normal.
The question then is, we imported the Cuban doctors to this country. Maybe in the future there could be other pandemics that will come on board. But even then, should there be a pandemic in the future? We don't pray for that. Should we be in a position when, yet again, we are importing medical personnel to this country?
I don't think importing is a good word. That is looked like cargo. Cuban doctors are not cargo. These are doctors who came to work with us under bilateral agreement. And this kind of arrangement is open. Countries and nations engage in this kind of bilateral business all the time. And therefore, bringing Cubans in future, Cubans or anybody else, is normal.
The argument against it is we've always had so many educated Kenyan doctors, all those in the medical sector, but they are unemployed, that we should not get to the point of getting into such bilateral agreements of bringing in human health resources when we have so much at our disposal that we are not tapping into.
I don't think the number of Cuban doctors is such as to be a factor when you are considering Kenyans on the streets, Kenyan doctors not employed. I don't think. If we brought in 2,000 Cuban doctors, I don't know how many these were, but if there were like 1,000, even 500, one could consider, say, why are you bringing in 1,000 doctors? And our doctors, about 5,000 of them are on the streets or outside the country. But it's just a handful of doctors. You know, the way I saw it, and it hasn't worked that way, the Cuban approach to health care, to medicine, whatever language you want to use, is different from many other people. It is community embedded. What you would call almost appropriate, because it is the Cubans do their thing from within the ground. So I was hoping when they came, we were going to learn a thing or two about that, so that when they exit, we have had people who have been trained well enough to have that approach to especially in the rural areas. You see, our doctors, when you post them to the rural areas, they are smart in their suits, speaking good English. Even when an old woman speaks, she doesn't hear English, she doesn't know English, bad Swahili. The doctor is just there writing prescription even without listening to the patient. I thought we would have learned from the Cubans and we would have taken a few of our doctors to Cuba. That was the take home.
Knowledge transfer.
Yeah, knowledge transfer. So that didn't happen. So for that reason, I don't think it was quite necessary.
It wasn't quite necessary.
Especially given that there was a lot of murmuring and our doctors were not happy. Why are you treating them well? Which again I don't like, because you see, we bring foreigners and give them VIP treatment. Pay them better than our doctors, give them accommodation, even give them security. It's unfortunate one of them was hijacked, one or two of them were hijacked, I can't remember the facts.
Terrorism.
That is where the problem is. When you give foreigners better treatment than their local counterparts, who have the same qualification, even more. I've seen even where I work, we have an argument with the Chinese, this Confucius. They used to bring
Institute, yeah.
I don't know that things have changed. One would come here, we give them a 3-4 bedroom house furnished. When on the exchange program, when our colleagues go there, they are put in a dormitory or something, I don't know, 8 by 7 or 8 by 10. That's where the problem is. We must respect ourselves. We must value ourselves. We must embrace other people from the other parts of the world. But it is bad to bring somebody from outside and give them VIP treatment. That was the wrong thing about that package. They should just have been like other Kenyan doctors.
Very well.
Anything extra given to them would be because of being away from home, which is normal. That if you are not working in your home country, even your package can be, there are certain allowances
Adjustments.
you get. If you are being given accommodation, it is because we are considering maybe security. But this one was just blanket. They come in as if they are special. That was the wrong bit about that. Yeah.
But maybe in the eye of the government, they were sort of special because they say they are bringing in cutting-edge expertise in healthcare. And not only that, if you look at the latest development by Health Ministry and how it has been received by many, majority are saying the Cuban doctors shouldn't go. Why? They have set the bar too high in our referral hospitals and all that. Is it a question that maybe our Kenyan doctors had really stooped that low, not to give the best services? That's perhaps why we have to give specialized treatment to those from abroad.
This is not easy to handle. For the time that Cuban doctors have been in this country, breakthroughs have not come from Cuban doctors. It is our doctors who have separated those twins. It's our doctors who have returned somebody's manhood that has been severed off and returned, and it works. It's our doctors who have won international awards. It's not the Cuban doctors. For the time they have been here, I've not heard anything special they have done. So that is not correct. We have very, very highly trained doctors in this country. Kenya has specialists that many parts of the world don't have. We are almost on the cutting edge. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
People are dying to join the School of Medicine, University of Nairobi. Even if you charge 10 million per student, you'll get people coming to train there. My friend, our doctors are trained, but there are hardships. People end up making compromises. Because you pay people badly, they are doing locum, and hospitalia, and just like lawyers, they are running all over the place. So we need to understand the doctors.
All right.
If we pay them well, what happens in other countries? When a doctor finishes, they are on internship, they are accommodated by a hospital. When they start working, the new doctors after internship, and even if they are registrars or going for masters or things of that nature, what happens in many places is you would hear their doctors' flats. This is where young doctors are accommodated as they find their bearing. You see, after 3-4 years, you can't be staying there now. You are now on permanent employment. You've even taken a loan because you qualify for a loan. You can now move into a mortgage. Simple things like those we can't do as a country because we are busy stealing money. Then we'll be waiting for somebody from temperate countries, from Europe, to come and work on malaria. They don't have malaria in Europe, in those cold places. Then we are waiting for them to come and work on malaria research here.
Tropical diseases.
Because that doctor would have moved into research. They land into the world just like a kid from the womb of the mother. Anakuta dunia ni ngumu. You pay a doctor like 70,000-60,000. I think they have now changed a bit. He will have to hustle. He will do locum another hospital. He has no time, he has no energy. But the worst of it is that he can't think research. He can't follow through a case. Sometimes doctors fumble on something that is unique. And then you follow that patient with interest. I remember Dr. Gekonyo. My father-in-law was unwell. God rest his soul. He had heart conditions. Gekonyo was telling us when my father-in-law was hospitalized, said, this is the patient among the few I started with when I was a young man. And I've followed his case through. You know, and he was with us until the man died. That is the sort of arrangement I'm talking about. But how can a doctor follow a case when he's following bread? So we have our doctors following bread instead of following a special case. And that may be a major discovery in the line of medicine. That can bring other doctors from across the world to come and see this case, to look at this patient. But so we have to understand that our doctors are not necessarily bad. Our doctors are underpaid and quite often overworked. I heard the President Uhuru Kenyatta saying, oh, doctors are not working. I just said, God, I wish this guy understood. I wish he understood. Doctors go to theater government hospitals. Almost everything is missing. They improvise, they do everything. They stay in the theater for long hours. We have to understand them.
You have to appreciate them.
You have to appreciate them. Of course, there are a few issues which I've explained.
Sure.
If somebody is getting late or doesn't look like he's into the thing he's doing, it's because maybe he works in 3-4 other hospitals for survival. Then why can't we just pay them well?
So part of what has informed the latest move by Madam Susan Nakhumicha is that they are trying to harness all efforts around motivating the local human resource. Health human resource. Would you then say that the most primary effort from the government should be looking at their remuneration even before you look at now employing more?
That's obvious. It is obvious because the doctors need to be taken care of.
Then after that, you now go to...
I was saying, I thought, like everybody else, seeing what doctors did during COVID, especially 2020, the year 2020 and the first half of 2021,
Sure.
I thought we had all seen who a doctor is, what a doctor is in our lives. I thought that now for once, nations, governments would treat doctors knowing what they do. We saw it. Doctors died during Corona. They sacrificed. Doctors couldn't go to their homes. Somebody has been handling patients. They fear if they went home, they could cause havoc in the... Mtu analala kwa hospitali. You get it?
Sure.
I saw a doctor, somebody sneezed in his face and he died. Yeah. I thought after seeing this Corona, what doctors were doing at great cost to them. Nurses.
Exposure to risk.
Nurses, what? And they died. And they were courageous. When almost everybody else had given up, doctors were there. You saw the case in Brazil.
Sure.
You saw the case in Italy. I thought for once we would have learned. We would have sat down and say, what is the best we can do for our doctors? The same thing with Kemri. Kemri is surviving not on government support. I don't know, but I'm just suspecting. Because I've been in a conference where these research institutes were. I think this one was Kefri or something. No, that one was, I can't remember.
Sure.
I can't remember which one was.
Medical research institutions.
I was a moderator in one of those. What was this? I have forgotten. I have seen all these research institutions. If you just cut off donor support, they will close. I'm not so sure about Kemri, but it has to be special from these others. All these others. I was in a conference. I was there moderating. I even asked that question.
Over reliance on
I asked them what would happen if donor support was... They will close. So I thought after seeing Corona and the need for knowledge, the need for research, to move into vaccine production, to strengthen that department, I thought this government would put aside money for Kemri. I've not had it. So human beings never learn. No.
Human beings never
They
learn.
don't learn. No, they don't learn.
And time is high. We appreciate our doctors.
You need to appreciate doctors, given what they do. Go to a hospital. Forget about these big hospitals. You just walk to a county hospital. If you have a doctor friend, stay a week with him. You will not believe the guys work. Some of them put in 12, 14 hours.
It could affect your mental health.
You leave hospital at 5, you get home, at 8 you are being called. There's an emergency. There's no other doctor. And you have to go. Then you leave there midnight. When I hear people talk about doctors, I think they don't understand what they are talking about.
All right, there you have it. That point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation talking matters, healthcare reforms, and the latest move from the ministry not to renew the contracts of Cuban doctors who had been engaged under a bilateral agreement some time back. Time now for our fan of the week. It is this gentleman, Paul Mutua of Savannah Bee Honey.
Paul Mutua of Savannah Bee Honey.
Yeah.
I've seen Savannah Bee Honey. Where is this?
Savannah Honey.
Savannah Honey, yeah, I've seen it.
We shall surely host them someday soon.
Wonderful.
Very soon.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul, for
And
being part of this family.
All right, very well. And at that particular point, allow me also to bring you up to speed with our latest development here on Nairobi Review. So if you're an entrepreneur and maybe you feel your business has a story to tell, a story of success, a story of resilience, do reach out to us here on Nairobi Review using the numbers displayed at the bottom part of your screen, and definitely I will engage you directly and will come and cover you and your business and give you value for your time. So be sure that we'll definitely grant you that which you need, which is media coverage, and also we shall meet each other midway. You get value and we also get value from covering your business. Until next time on Business Glide, I'm Richard Mwenjo. Always a pleasure.